Welcome to another edition of the Fortune Runner Wealth Podcast with your host, Tony Drake.
Thank you for joining me with another podcast. And this podcast is titled The Soul of Money. This is going to be a very interesting topic because I'm going to cover a lot of space. But in essence, the soul of money has a core. That core is the human consciousness and human activity. Money's soul is this invisible power that can carry a person from zero to countlessness through their own efforts, imagination, and initiatives. One's wealth equation is determined by one's imagination, one's initiatives, and one's ability to understand what it is and what problems they're solving in what industry. The soul of money is from the soul of humans because it's an artificial entity. It's a man-made construct, but we give it life and we make it a living entity, similar to the corporation, which was designated in the 1800s or late 1700s to be a legal person, not a real person, but a legal person. So it's interesting, once a guy was on the expressway and he was in the carpool lane, and he took his corporate papers, his corporation papers, and put the corporation papers in the driver's seat. And so when the police stopped him, they said, "Sir, you're driving in a carpool lane and you don't have another passenger in the car except yourself." He says, "Well, I have my corporation papers in the car and they are considered a legal person." Of course, he took it to court and he lost because he used the wrong instance to use the legal person. The legal person is only admissible in business transactions and business activity, not in domestic ones. So the soul of money is like a corporation. The difference between the two is one manages the other. So a corporation manages money. Money does not manage the corporation. It's vice versa. Now, the soul of money and its infinite equations has to be looked at very carefully. Because if most of our problems stem from a lack of knowledge, a lack of resources, a lack of knowledge and know-how, wisdom and experience, a lack of skills and abilities, a lack of research and development, etc., understand something, that it is from that soul that all of those problems can be resolved. Now, personal and interpersonal problems, that's another kind of challenge. Can the soul of money help resolve some of that? Possibly. But much of that is internal. It is a part of that soul that we have. And we have to resolve whatever those issues are separate from the soul of money. Now let me distinguish the two. The soul of money is to solve problems, is to infuse energy into whatever it is that it's going to help. If it's construction, it goes to help the process of construction by paying people with this money to get the work done. And that's across all sectors, all industries, all areas of commerce. We know this. But the soul of man has a deeper meaning, a deeper function than the soul that he gives to money. Because the soul that he gives to money is for a specific person. His own internal problems, issues, and challenges is something very different and is connected to the heart and connected to the mind. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, and what some will also say, is the cosmic mind. This process ultimately determines one's wealth equation. I have to bring this back to the wealth equation because the soul of money is for that purpose and that purpose only. One's wealth equation. And your wealth equation simply means your ability to earn income and create that which solve problems that generate more income. When you can convince someone that your product, goods, services, or information is what they need, then you will have been able to convince them what you have created and what you have to offer is the obvious choice. So you see, the soul of money helps facilitate the creation of all things in the world that we live in, because that is the source of compensation, currency. It's current C. You see? It's current. Can you see it? This is what we're using to do all transactions, private and commercial. The soul of money. To unlock the secrets in the soul of money, it is necessary to go into deep research to understand how money affects people. It's a tool. It's artificial. It's not even real. We give it life, like the corporation, like any legal entity. It's not real. It has no life outside of the one that we give it. It's just paper or digits or value that we've placed upon it and our belief and support in it. Credit is built from our belief in the soul of money. You cannot have a credit system without a underlying system that supports it and that's used every day by everyone, or there'll be displacement. You have to have something of value that everyone can agree upon. And currently it is fiat dollars, cryptocurrencies, in some cases precious metals. The world basically agrees on those three. Now we can use commodities such as land and real estate as assets, but you cannot spend it. You must have a currency. And currently, we have fiat currency, which is dollars, euros, pounds, yens, yuans, reals, rubles. We have cryptocurrencies. Listen to the word currency, which is the soul of money. We have Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, Ripple. The list goes on. Monero, Zcash, we can keep going and going and going. There are hundreds of them. Then we have precious metals. We have silver coins, gold coins, platinum coins, palladium coins. And all of them have a different value. But it goes back to the soul of money. So to crack the equation, the soul of money, go stand in the middle of it. How do you stand in the middle of the soul of money? That which money gives greater value to. Money gives greater value to the things that people value the most. And those are very expensive things. Let's be real. The most expensive car, the most expensive real estate, the most expensive jewelry, and the list goes on and on. So go put yourself in the middle of it. Go to a store where they sell the most expensive jewelry and just spend time in there. Let your mind become transformed, because while you're in that environment, your mind is changing. You go there deliberately to get your mind to become altered, synaptic changes in the brain. Go drive a $300,000 car and make sure you take plenty of pictures of yourself driving it. Change the synaptic activity in the brain. Start to change the chemistry of your experience. Remember, the mind can only react to what the mind can imagine. Go into the most expensive real estate. Do all of those things. Then you could put yourself within the center of the soul of money. Now, once you have experienced all of those things, go back and start creating your wealth equation. You don't need a crowd. You don't need friends. You don't need support. All you need is your mind and your initiatives. Go put yourself in that place. When you've gotten in that place, you start taking all of it in, taking all of it in. How should you take it in? What you're seeing, what you're experiencing, and what you believe you can do to create value, solve problems, bring the soul of money into your sphere. That is what you're doing. Now let's go on. If you cannot come up with a way to solve problems in a practical way and is uniquely your own idea, then that should be a part of your work while you're doing something else to earn income. But the objective is you've got to have something that you own. You've got to do for self. You got to learn a way to get off these jobs. You got to learn to take your life into your own hands, your livelihood into your own hands. You cannot leave that in another man's hands. What if they fire you? What if they cut your hours? What if they demote you? I mean, you're giving your life to someone else and they're making decisions for your life. You're not even free. You're in bondage. Can you not see that? The soul of money helps you elevate the possibilities that you will need to begin creating initiatives in your brain of how to free yourself from bondage. You have to experience something other than bondage. And you cannot make excuses as to why you won't give yourself the ability to experience something different. Don't be afraid of it. Leave the past in the past. Don't bring the past with you in the future because the past can become your future. That is a part of the loop. When you don't do something different and you keep doing what's familiar and you're expecting different results, you're not going to get different results. You have to do things differently, do something completely different you've never done. And once you acknowledge that you've done something very different, stay on that course. Don't look back at the past. It has nothing to offer you. You just keep moving forward. Your objective is 1, put yourself in the center of the soul of money. 2, begin to create something that solves problems. Look around. There are problems everywhere. In fact, you can do a Google search and ask, what problems need to be solved in the car industry, in the cryptocurrency industry, in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, in the sports industry, in the medical industry, in the gaming industry. Just find something that you know you can do and research it. Then start imagining how can you create something. Now, for some people, being in the place that they live kind of stagnate their possibilities in their imagination. So sometimes you may need to go out and get, out in public, and then energy starts flowing. Go take a long train ride and energy will start flowing. Take a long bus ride and the energy will start flowing. I once took a flight from Atlanta to Africa, and it was a 10-hour trip. And I sit there and I wrote an entire book in that 10 hours. So I am saying you have to put your brain in a space and in a place that gives you total access to your own imagination to solve problems, to create something. And if you do that and remember that feeling, when you put yourself in the soul of money, in the center of the soul of money, by doing those things that I've suggested, remember it. You want to remember it and make it memorable? Pull up those old pictures so you can invoke those memories when you drove that $300,000 car, when you went into that $30 million mansion, when you went into that jewelry store that had diamonds that cost $1.2 million. Tiffany's, it doesn't matter. You want to do all of those things and make it memorable, recordable. Because remember, the brain can only do what it remembers, what it can imagine. And if you take pictures of that, the brain remembers that experience. Yeah, you have to do these things. because everything around you reflects the past. It reflects the loop that you're in, that you're trying to break out of. The next thing you have to do is you have to go out and network. Find events going all around town, these meetups. You can look online and say what kind of business meetup or IT meetup or entertainment meetup. Go to these meetups so you can meet people and begin networking. Networking is going to help you get there. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and add likes if you value the essence of what is shared on the Fortune Runner podcast. This is 2019. We will go much deeper and much broader. Success is necessary.